In today's video, I'm going to be looking at the $9.6 trillion trade sell-off in the US markets, and I'm also going to be sharing with you one stock that I believe will be staying green. And then for MMTLP, we're going to be looking at an SEC response to fraud and discovery. So before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the market. So first of all, breaking news from China. They have announced an extra 34% tariff on US goods. The S&P 500 at pre-market was down 2% and still going down. So from CNBC, we can also see here the Dow Jones was down 900 points, and it was crushed on the second day on fears that Trump has potentially ignited a global trade war. In terms of oil, that also crashed 8% as China has retaliated with tariffs in response to the US. And we can see here from the Wall Street Journal, the Dow Jones opened sharply lower, bonds are rallying. Obviously, in terms of China, they have slapped a 34% tariff on US goods. This will start on April the 10th. So if we have a look at a response from Donald Trump, he stated in terms of China, China played it wrong, they panicked, and the one thing they cannot afford to do. So it does look like there is going to be a trade war, and hopefully it doesn't make the overall market situation worse. So this is my take on the current situation. Trump has shared a video, and I'm going to be sharing that video with you shortly. But in response to that video, it states here he's implying, Donald Trump, that he's deliberately crashing the market to lower bond yields, potentially get the Fed to lower interest rates, and also to encourage more investment into the US. These are my concerns. First of all, higher prices, inflationary pressure, less choice for consumers, and millions of people who are just about to retire are going to take a massive hit on their IRAs and the pensions. The months or years it could take for a company to relocate, as well as the huge cost, means this is going to be a long waiting game. We're also already seeing retaliatory measures, and these will impact US businesses especially, and also US jobs who are trying to export their goods and services across the world. So not going to be great for them. Retail investors right now are getting burned. We know this is a huge concern, and I think measures are going to be needed right now to calm the markets, because the markets are not in a good position. So Trump has also stated that he's looking for basically Jerome Powell and the Fed to reduce interest rates. This is breaking news in terms of what Jerome Powell has stated. He stated the economic impact of tariffs is larger than expected, and we must ensure price hikes don't lead to ongoing inflation. And tariffs are likely to increase inflation in coming quarters. That's not good. Possible tariffs could have persistent inflation impacts, so that's also not a great sign for obviously an interest rate cut. In terms of the Fear and Greed Index, we are potentially at the possible highest level available, which is extreme fear. And a 28-year-old investor, quite prominent on X, goes by the name of Legan. He's just shared his loss, and it's $208,000 since Trump became president. So let's now have a quick look at the video shared by Trump.
Trump is crashing the stock market by 20% this month, but he's doing it on purpose. And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich. So why is he doing this? To push cash into treasuries, which forces the Fed to slash interest rates in May, and those lower rates give the Fed the ability to refinance trillions of debt very inexpensively. It also weakens the dollar and drops mortgage rates. Now, it's a wild chess move, but it's working. Now, you're probably wondering, what about his tariffs? Well, I'll tell you, it's a genius play. It actually forces companies to build here to dodge them. It also forces farmers to sell more of their products here in the US to bring grocery prices way down. We've already seen this with eggs. Now, remember, 94% of all stocks are owned only by 8% of Americans. So Trump, he's taking from the rich short term and handing it to the middle class through lower prices.
I'd like to now share details of a stock that is currently green for 2025, and also I believe is going to finish strongly for the year end 2025. And if you could check out my previous video, I shared the top 10 stocks which I believe are going to finish very strongly for 2025, and the stock that I'm going to look at today was also on that list, ticker symbol EXC, also known as Exelon Corporation. So this is a utility company. They engage in providing gas and electricity, including natural gas, and they obviously include customers and clients from industrial, government, public authorities, electric railroads, etc., based in Chicago. So we can see here, founded in 1999, and a key date I'd like to share with you is May the 1st, when they are going to present the first quarter results. So keep an eye out on that date. So why am I bullish on this sector? This is a utility sector. It's not strongly impacted by tariffs. It's immune to changes in the economic cycle that we are seeing right now, and that's one of the reasons why this stock, I believe, is currently green and will remain green. They have stable earnings, and they are obviously consistently paying out dividends. So a great company here to look at. So we have a look at, obviously, in terms of the stable cash flow. This allows them to pay their regular dividend. They have a development of data centers. This is going to increase their demand. In terms of the financials, I expect their revenue and earnings to grow at rates of 3.4% and 6.4% respectively for the year. So let's have a look at the analyst opinions. It's 100% buy here from bar chart, and we can see current strength, top 1%, current direction, top 1%, which is the strongest. So all indications there are for a buy. So we have a look at an overall summary for the year to date. We can see ticker symbol EXC, Exelon Corporation, currently up over 25% for the year to date 2025, and we can see the dividend is a very healthy 3.39%, $1.60 per share. And finally, in the Discord, I shared with the Discord members exclusively the top 10 performing $50 billion plus stocks that were performing on Thursday, and also potentially going to perform well for the rest of 2025. Again, details to get access to this in the description below. Let's now look at MMTLP and the latest legal updates. There has been a response in terms of Jason Rollo versus the SEC and the allegations against the SEC in terms of fraud, and obviously the demand for discovery. So in terms of what we can see here, the discovery has been stayed until the DTCC and FINRA motions to dismiss are decided. So if we have a look at the court listener page, you can go ahead and check all the documents out there, currently updated April 3rd, 2025. So if we have a look at the current case that we're looking at, Jason Rollo versus the SEC in the United States District of Connecticut District Court. We can see here the support of a motion for a protective order staying discovery. So we can see here the plaintiff, Jason Rollo, has consented to the stay of discovery with regard to a subject and his right to file a motion in event of a further developments that he believed would warrant vacating the stay. So it's also without prejudice. It's going to not impact his right to later request an extension of the current discovery deadline. So obviously we know there is possibly a 3-year deadline there, so he will still be allowed to take advantage of that. In terms of the background to this, the plaintiff, i.e. Jason, is alleging 8 counts against the commission, i.e. SEC, and at that time we know it was Gary Gensler, and he's seeking a variety of equitable relief. He's stating here that the SEC failed in their enforcement duties to follow the securities laws, and I certainly do agree with that, and also failed to address market manipulation. This is in regard to MMAT and also MMTLP. So there is a contradiction of their statutory duties, looking at where they were looking at, potentially should have been looking at exposing retail investors and protecting them with regard to systematic harm. They failed to enforce the federal securities laws, and they enabled the alleged MMAT and MMTLP frauds that caused his investment losses, and obviously everybody else's investment losses. And we can see here in terms of the decision and the order, the motion is granted, the order that all discovery is stayed pending the court's decision on the commission's forthcoming motion to dismiss. So we will keep an eye out on this. And finally, I'd like to go back to the fast-moving story in terms of tariffs, and this is one of my latest posts. And in terms of the latest calculation, we can see on Thursday, biggest ever days of buying in stocks. Investors bought $4.7 billion worth of stocks, and it's the largest amount of buying for a decade. However, since Trump's inauguration, the total loss in the US markets is approximately $9.6 trillion. So that's been wiped out from the US market. So my question here is, if we look at the maths, and is a $9.6 trillion loss worth it to achieve a possible gain of $900 billion from this tariffs policy? Doesn't make sense to me. So let's see if there is any developments on this, but certainly it's not positive news so far. So finally, thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.